So the power that I discovered in my life, the power is not in yes. The power is in no, of what you're able to come through and being honest with yourself so you can honest with somebody else and they can appreciate the fact that you can come somewhere.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Modern Day Don podcast, where we bring you interesting conversations as you're on your path and your journey to become a modern day Don. My name is Jason Elias, and on today's show, we have Mr. Matt Sapaula. How are you, my friend?
Hey, great to be here. Jace.
Good, man.
Good to be here, brother.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
The Don.
Yeah, now you and I go back a little bit, a couple years now already.
Pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic. It was 2020 that we met. And we've had a bunch of conversations on your journey, your path to Texas.
Yeah.
We met in Florida.
The Breakers.
We met at the Breakers.
That's right.
Right,
Palm
that
Beach.
was a great story, right? It was
Right.
a breakfast.
Socially distanced.
Yeah,
But we're right next to each other.
We weren't socially distancing, right? So,
that table.
We were at an environment of consistently making ourselves better.
Yeah.
And we were at a breakfast together, sitting across, and we
Yeah.
shook our hand. We stuck our hands out, got to know each other, and you said you happened to be moving to Frisco, Texas.
Yeah.
Probably that year, right? A
Yeah.
year. Was you out here? What, 21?
Yeah, correct. I was out here at 21, just got fed up with what Chicago was doing, how they're treating their entrepreneurs and the citizens in Chicago.
Yep.
I had already been commuting back and forth to Dallas, building PHP agency with Patrick Bet-David, so I was chief distribution officer here. And so I'd just go fly back and forth, and I saw very clearly how differently Dallas citizens are being treated during COVID than Chicago citizens.
Right.
And then what the straw that broke the camel's back was when two of my insurance agents, just doing their thing, not asking for trouble.
Yeah.
They got carjacked for their cars and shot in the head.
In Chicago?
In Chicago.
What?
Yep.
So this was 21 or 20? 21.
21.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, if we can go a step further back, if you would,
Mm-hmm.
introduce yourself to some of our viewers that might not have seen some of your work yet. If you give them a little bio and who you are.
Yeah, United States Marine, 8 years, combat veteran, three deployments, 2 combat tours. Got out in 2003, so 1991 to 2003. That was my time. I was a helicopter gunner / crew chief mechanic. Leaving the Marine Corps, I found myself in a precarious situation, being married, divorced, all in the same year, and going to court, filing bankruptcy, filing for divorce, finding myself being a single father of 3 kids, stumbling across the life insurance industry, not thinking that life insurance or entrepreneurship would be something I'd be doing. I thought I'd be a cop, firefighter, postal worker,
Right.
Working with my hands, typical dude answer to what's next. But I love the freedom, the flexibility.
Were you around that a lot? Were you around a lot of a blue collar industry growing up?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, growing up in Chicago. Yeah.
You were more in the blue collar industry
Absolutely.
area that you
Yeah.
grew up in. What area in Chicago were you?
Cicero, Berwyn, Cicero,
Cicero.
Stickney. Yeah.
Okay.
So I grew up on Pershing and 39th Street in Harlem in Chicago.
Okay.
That's the Stickney area, but we had the 3 collaboration of the townships was Stickney, Stickney, Cicero, Berwyn, which is the direct west suburb of Chicago,
Okay.
if you call it that. But we, one side was the Italian, the Park Boys.
Yeah.
And the other side was the Gangster Disciples. The other side was Latin King. So
Sure.
I was constantly running. So
Got it,
I wasn't
got it.
about that life.
Good for you.
I think I was the only Filipino that was in that neighborhood.
Did the neighborhood play a part in signing up for the military?
Yes.
Okay. What was the thought process that you went to in making that decision? And how old were you?
First thing is I was 17.
Okay.
So I got to get out of here. Nobody wants to do anything. I wanted aspirations of potentially going to college and being gainfully employed somehow, some way, because Filipinos take pride in having a job.
Okay.
Because that was why I come to the United States. It was not starting a business, it's having a job in healthcare. But I said, Mom, there's nothing I love and like even about healthcare. There's nothing I like about being a doctor, a dentist, an attorney, an engineer. Zero. I'm very bad at school.
Yeah.
2.2 GPA. Class clown. Constantly falling asleep in school. There's nothing.
Class clown?
Class clown. Brother.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
My man.
And so when push come to shove, all right, it's the senior year, what are you guys going to do? That basketball season, I said, you know what? I'm going to go see the Navy recruiter. A guy came into the high school because I played football with the year before.
Okay.
And he played football. He played basketball too as well, and he enlisted into the Army.
Okay.
I'm like, cool, Army, cool. To me, my interpretation, like, okay, everybody, it's like G.I. Joe, everybody does that. So let me look at the Navy. That looks pretty cool. You're on ships, whatever the case would be. Navy SEALs, pretty cool, right?
Right.
And then I went to go see the Navy recruiter, literally about to sign the dotted line. And a Marine recruiter steps in because there's a joint recruiting center. So all the branches of service within the same office.
Okay.
So it'd be like this. Across the way would be Army.
And now
Across the
you're
way,
still in high school.
I'm still in high school.
You're a senior in high school, 17
Yeah.
years old, around there. Okay.
Yeah. And so he says, he goes, are you sure? They're talking about cross branch competition. He goes, are you sure you want to be in the Navy, man? You sure you want to look like a Cracker Jack boy for the rest of your life? He goes, you want to look like this. He comes in with his dress blues.
With the dress blues?
I was like, yo. I said, man, you know how many girls who snap their necks looking at you? Like, really? Yeah.
All right, from a salesmanship perspective, what lesson did you learn from a salesmanship?
That's right.
Sell the feeling of driving the Ferrari.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And by the way, this day and age, in the current 2020, there's 2020 to 24 current military.
Right.
The branches of service that have not met the recruiting quota is the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Who's not ever missed the recruiting quota is the Marine Corps.
What do you think that drives that?
Other branches of service would say, hey, you want a job? You want a career? You want to go to college? Come and listen to the military. You know what the Marines? You know how the Marines recruit? Are you one of the few? You one of the proud? You could potentially be a Marine.
Right.
You want to know what it takes to be one of the best of the best? Join the Marines.
Yep.
You want to travel? You want to do something crazy? USMC, Uncle Sam's Misguided Children. You want to be part of a brotherhood that's the biggest fraternity in the world? You want to be known as a devil dog? You want to be known as somebody that's set apart? Join the Marines. You want to be elite? Join the Marines. When the president needs when the president calls 911, he calls the Marines.
Yep.
First to fight, last to leave. Those type of things.
Got it.
So they sold an intangible, and they drew. By the way, look at all the different Marine Corps recruiting, like Born on 4th of July. How Tom Cruise is high school, just listening to these guys. Yeah, what it takes to be Marines? Like everybody's like, no, man, it's not me. God, Tom Cruise. You know, any Marine Corps movie will profile the esprit de corps, the camaraderie, the brand of the Marine Corps. The other ones, they sell you linearly, logically. That's why they don't recruit.
So, from the business side of things, are there any businesses that stand out in your mind that does something similar?
Netflix.
Okay.
They sell culture.
Okay.
And Netflix is known as having the culture deck.
Okay.
You know, if you Google Netflix culture deck, this is what Netflix is known for.
Right.
You want to work for Zappos. You know, sadly before Ken, he passed away. But I remember Patrick took his executive staff to Zappos just to see the culture of Zappos.
Okay.
Disneyland, before they went woke, what's their saying? Have a magical day.
Sure.
Right? So they're selling an experience, an environment of why you're working there. It's kind of like how people are excited to go to a certain college.
Right.
One over the other.
Yep.
Same reason why people want to get recruited by one company over the other. And then it's up to them to find out whether or not they thought whatever they saw the brand was on the outside, whether that's continue on the inside.
If you look back, I mean, with a lot of the young men that that look up to what it is modern day Don talks about, you know, it's some of those decisions when they're younger, right? So as you made that decision for the military, when you look back on it now, do you look at it as a turning point in your life, and how do you view it from a decision-making process? Something that you look at as one of the better decisions, or like how do you view it from someone that's now where you are?
So this past Saturday, we went to the Texas State Fair for the second year in a row. Went to go see the Grambling State versus Prairie View A&M. HBCU, historically black college university, right? And the culture of HBCU colleges.
Yeah.
What's the culture? Community, band, you know, understanding who you are in the world. And I saw that. I've never been to college. But when I saw it, have you seen the movie Drumline?
Yep.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But with the HBC, you see the whole thing, not just the drumline. You see the band, you see the majors, the majorettes, you see the dance team, you see the flag team. Oh, there's a football game.
Yep.
So this whole thing, I mean, Rick Ross showed up last Saturday. He's showing up, you know, and he brings a vibe, a community. And the game of football brings together a lot of folks in the HBCU community. That band, man, the battle of the bands going back and forth, just the excitement. And I told myself, I was there with a couple of my business partners who are Grambling grads. By the way, these Grambling grads, the last 2.5 years, we paid them over $1.5 million in commissions. So they were nothing, mental health. Guys were just playing video games. They were really not going further in life, that had a decent job but not fulfilled. Just between the three of them, over $1.5 million of commissions between the three of them. And so when we're looking at that, and by the way, they interviewed us right there on stage. Hey, tell us, Matt, how are you helping Grambling grads, create life after college? Nonetheless, we're there, and the environment of college, I knew the way my hormones were, the way my hormones were wired at 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old. I would have been like a 12th year senior.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have specialized in child support.
Good point.
My undergrad in child support, and the other one undergrad in having how to handle multiple baby mamas.
Yeah.
But I was going crazy when I was at that age. So thank God for the Marine Corps instilling discipline in me and showing me that there's more to serve than just yourself.
Sure.
That's what the Marine Corps instilled.
Yeah. I mean, that's a powerful point, and that brings up something that you and I have never been afraid to talk about, which is God.
Yeah.
Right. We say thank God.
Amen. Thank God.
And
for sure.
To even bring up the first book, your first book.
Yep. Faith Made Millionaire.
Faith Made Millionaire. Right. And that's what, 3 years?
Yeah, it's 3 years.
It's got to be 3 years.
Yeah, we launched it in 2022.
You
that's
worked
right.
with Darren on that, right? Originally.
Yes, Darren. And by the way, he was at that table when we met.
At that table when we met 5 years ago. That's right. So again, it's small world. It's amazing how things, they put the right people in your place, but then you got to take action.
That's right.
So it's when they put them in your place, and then ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
So it's just let's do it, and let's figure it out when it comes. So the question there is, was there a turning point where you on your walk with God, where you made an adjustment to, making God first, what was that like? Was there a certain turning point in your life that brought you to, that expanded your faith?
1993.
Okay.
I'm aboard the USS Tripoli. We're getting ready for our 3 a.m. operation called Operation Restore Hope.
Okay.
I'm putting on my gear. I'm putting on my body armor. After, when I went to the aircraft, I was affixing armor where I'd be seated. So therefore, if they're taking pot shots at us, that I wouldn't be shot from the bottom up and getting shot in the ass. One of the most embarrassing things that happen to you. A United States Navy petty officer, first class petty officer Johnson, second class petty officer Smith. By the way, if you guys are watching this, I can't wait to reunite with you guys. He says, "Hey, Marine, if you don't come back tonight, do you know where you'd end up?" Because that night, right before I was affixing my body armor, we had to go down to the ship's library with our legal team, with our legal department team, to sign our wills and to make sure our life insurance is enforced, to make sure we have the right beneficiaries on our life insurance policy.
Okay.
Brother, I'm 19 years old.
Okay.
So they're telling us basically 30% of our platoon, 30% of our units not coming back. What? Okay, we're going to Somalia. It's a humanitarian mission to protect the UN. Are you sure? Well, you're the guys that first going in there, in Mogadishu right now is a bunch of tribes out there. There might be a president, but man, it's a bunch of tribes that run that city, that run that country. So back to the Navy petty officer. He said, "Do you know where you're going to end up if you don't come back?" I said, "Are you talking about heaven? You talking about Jesus?" He goes, "I'm absolutely talking about heaven and Jesus." I said, "Yeah, I think I'll go. Yeah, I'm going." He goes, "You don't sound very clear." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay, well, so what's up?" So if you want to be clear, talk about salesmanship, right? If you want to be clear and we get right with God tonight, and you're sure that you're going to go to heaven, we'd like to pray for you. I said, "Okay, you want to do it right now?" She says, "No, we'd like to pray for you at our ship's library at 7:00. I said, "Okay, no problem." One request. That's what's that. Don't tell anybody. It's between me and you. I don't want my Marines knowing that I'm coming to you for prayer, because I thought it was a sign of weakness.
Okay.
So I go down to the ship's library at 7:00. I'm down at the ship's library, and who did I find there? Not only the petty officers were there, but my entire damn platoon. They got my whole platoon down there, man. Mm-hmm. Everybody's crying, weeping, praying. What? Getting right with God. And so what I realized at the time was the spirit of boldness that the Holy Spirit encourages you to act upon. And it's really the spirit of boldness, that the spirit of encouragement, the spirit of listen, God's got your back, is what is necessary for an entrepreneur to go out there and make those phone calls, to shake those hands, to meet new people, to pitch yourself in front of a board. For example, this afternoon, right before I got here, I'm pitching an agent of an NFL player, and he represents many different NFL players. He's pitching me and what I can offer his players in terms of insurance and retirement planning for life during and through after the league. So I had to be ready for that. So that spirit of molding, and more so the spirit of preparation and experience kicked in. Mm-hmm. I get that from that petty officer who had the spirit of boldness, courageousness, preparation to approach a guy like me. If you don't know anything about the Navy ship, Navy guys don't approach Marine guys. You don't talk to us.
Okay.
Bro, we're different than you, bro.
Okay.
Cockiness. little bit of arrogance.
Pride.
Pride, of course.
Yeah.
But that brother went through that arrogance, that stereotype, because he wasn't looking at me as a Marine. He was looking at me as a child of God,
Okay.
as a son of God, and he needed to do the right thing.
Yeah. It's interesting, as you were saying that, you said a couple words, which was Spirit of Boldness. It almost feels like a book that'll be your fourth book coming out. I don't know. Spirit of Boldness. I like that.
That's great.
I like that.
What a great
and we got it here, right? Being able to talk about,
timestamp. We keep receipts.
Listen, timestamp right here, modern day Don.
Let's
Hello.
go.
Wink at the camera over here, but it's some of the things that we talk about here again are the F's, right? Faith, family, fatherhood, fitness, and fashion. And when you think about your fatherhood journey, are there any events that stand out in your mind that were pivotal snapshot moments?
For me as a father, or me being a
father,
son?
as a father.
As a father.
Or as a son also. I mean, as a son is powerful too. But let's just say as a father first.
Okay, so as father, I realized that by default, I realized where my natural values and principles, my priorities were, because in that 7th year of the Marines, they're asking me to re-enlist.
Okay.
Now I've been to multiple deployments.
Did you have kids at that point?
I did.
You had
kids.
your daughters. You had
no,
twins.
I had my son.
You had your son.
I had my son. And when they asked me to re-enlist, I said, hey, listen, I don't think I'm going to do this. Give me a reason why I shouldn't re-enlist, because either they're going to give me a bonus in cash, but really give me a reason to re-enlist, because I don't know. Because I'm going to go re-enlist again. It'll take me to my 12th year, and it would be foolish to just get out my 12th year, because I'm going to re-enlist. Might as well just do another 8 to finish your 20 to get your pension for the rest of your life. Now, I've been retired at 37 years old, collecting a pension from 37 on for the rest of my life. Sounds mathematically, logically.
Sure.
It makes sense, right?
Sure.
But I bet on me again. I bet on me, and I bet on my capacity, I bet on my potential, without me even thoughtfully realizing it. Something deep down inside of me said, listen, just bet on you, bro. Bet on you. Because your son needs you more than your brothers. And what's more important, your own flesh and blood, or your brothers in the Marine Corps, even though you wear the same uniform, the guys that you sweat with, you bled with, and you did some of the worst things and the best things in life together. But who do you really want to be there for? I said, my son. My son. Yeah. That was my priority. So and once I figured out that, then every decision would make that a reality. And re-enlisting into the Marine Corps would not be part of that reality. And I remember the Marines telling me, Sapaula, all you know how to do is be a Marine. If there's one thing you do really well, it's be a United States Marine, right? But I don't know, guys. I really want to be there for my son. I hated the fact that we had to call back from deployment. Things were going on in my family. I couldn't do nothing about it. I hate that pit in my stomach, that helpless feeling, and the not knowing, the unknowing factor of being able to not make an impact. And here I'm serving everybody else but my family. I didn't like that feeling. And so I said, I got to get out. And so on my way out, this is when I stumbled across the life insurance industry. Never lived a million years thinking I'd be a life insurance agent, let alone building an agency.
It's not healthcare, right?
No, it's not healthcare. Exactly. Right? Entrepreneur. Everybody in the family. What's an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Right? It's my whole family. I didn't know how, bro. I didn't even know how to spell the word entrepreneur, but eventually that's what it became.
Yeah. No, that's powerful. And then, so your father, you had moved out here to Texas, right? You've moved
recently. Yeah, correct.
Recently.
Correct.
And so then, what stands out in your mind and some things that you learned from him, right and wrong? Well, I don't say wrong, but things that you saw by the way he fathered, that made you say, I want to be that type of father, or maybe there were some things that say, I don't want to be that way?
In many ways, my father is very present in my life. My parents are still together, thank God. My parents are still together, but very, very much so, very absent.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was there, but when it came to the birds and the bees, things I need to go through as a young man to become a man, things to avoid as a young boy, wasn't there. My dad was more so just be quiet, lead by example. That was him. Which I agree with. You got to lead by example, but you also have to open your mouth to instruction. So if you're going to lead by example to babies, you also have to open up here. This is why we're doing certain things. And so I found myself getting in a lot of trouble, and then me dealing with the backlash of my father then, and so, my father was the, don't spare the rod, spare the child type dad. Okay. So yeah, just like any Generation X kid, we got the shit beat out of us, right? And so, we're not the timeout generation. And so there's one thing that I've become aware of as a father myself is what does raising your children in anger and with physical heavy-handedness do to a child,
okay.
Right? Do you create a confident child? Do you create a child that wants to take personal initiative? Do you want a child that creates a relationship with you too as well? Because when they get older, what are they going to do? You know, my prayer for my kids is, listen, I'm always be your father. But I pray, though, as we get older, that's why I don't want you to lie to me now. I want to make sure we live a relationship of integrity. Don't hide things from me. Because you hide things from me, it erodes trust. If it erodes trust, we can't be friends.
Friends one day.
And I pray that as my son, my daughter, my children, you're my friends. But I'm always going to be your father. There's only one of us.
Right. But then one day be able to be your friend.
I want to be your friend.
Yeah,
I want us to
that's
hang
powerful.
out.
That's powerful. That's powerful stuff right there.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned the insurance industry. You know, we always talk about finances and a couple of other things. Where do you stand on real estate? Do you view real estate from more of the Cardone? You know, everything is about units and doors, or do you view it from a personal side of things where you just want to build out a compound? I mean, how do you view real estate and you know, and how it can be used today?
I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. In the mid 2000s, I did jump on real estate, and I compared running an insurance business and scaling an agency versus investing in real estate and scaling out my real estate portfolio. And here's what I realized: real estate for me has a lot of areas of complexity that if I make a mistake, it costs me hundreds of thousands of dollars and sets me back years. If I make a mistake in insurance, it costs me a client. It costs me a couple $1,000. It costs me a week, but I'm not set back.
Right.
I'm not devastated with one mistake. Or if I pick a bad partner, and you pick very many foolish partners because the partners are also foolishly being partners themselves.
Yeah.
You end up collaborating with the wrong people because they're just trying to make it as much as you are. And listen, when a man with money meets a man with experience, the man experience leaves with the money.
With the money.
With the money.
And the man with the money leaves with the experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
right.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
And sometimes, and most times, that experience, although the money's gone now, that's a bad experience.
Yeah.
And how much do we learn more from our bad experiences? By the way, that's why I love the fact of the YouTube generation, because when I was coming up in 2000, there was no YouTube University.
Sure.
You can learn everything you want to know about real estate, about insurance, about anything.
Learn
on
to
YouTube.
play the piano.
Hello.
You can learn how to play the guitar. I mean, there's nothing you can't learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think if somebody's out there watching this, you know, I'm not saying not to get involved in real estate. I mean, I've got real estate right now.
Sure.
I got a small portfolio of real estate, but I'm in REITs. For me, I'm in REITs.
Sure.
So I'm not worried about individual properties or individual doors, or individual tenants not paying me or being set back. Indirectly, I'm involved in real estate. I own our own property, but in terms of me putting together a portfolio of, it's not going to happen. If anything, my next move is buying a strip mall for our office space.
Yep.
And we've talked about this. Inside the strip mall, everything that we naturally do is going to be in that strip mall. Right? And everybody that we recruit and associate with in our business, in our insurance business, they're going to be running those relative. They're going to run the daycare. Someone's going to run the barbershop. Someone's going to run the nail salon. Someone's going to run the hair salon. Someone's going to run the cigar lounge. Someone's going to run the restaurant. Someone's going to run, you know, the detail shop, etc. I just want to own a mall, and then I'm going to be either GP or limited partner on that. I might be a limited partner on that, and I'll recruit other limited partners because I want another GP to, with experience, make sure we get the right deal. And then through that first deal, I'm willing to learn the ropes by not making the most from that first deal.
Got it. Yep.
So I think the problem is sometimes when people get involved in any sales or any entrepreneurial endeavor, they get too selfish, meaning that they try to make every dollar and every deal they've made at the cost of them not really learning from a man of experience.
Got it.
You want to be hitched side by side with someone who's got experience, someone who's got wisdom. This is their 100th deal. There's a 50th deal. There's a 20th deal. Yeah. Whether it's insurance or whether it's real estate or anything, you want to know that this is not their first time to us, or they have access to somebody who's had that experience, and you're able to learn from them. I'm willing to give up 50%, 80%.
Yeah.
For me not to make mistakes at my fifth move.
Yeah.
Then my fifth move, calculated. I've seen it happen 20 times. That calculated move on my own, that fifth move on my own, boom, I have a higher probability of success in that fifth deal or fifth move or sixth move or seventh move, because I've seen these type of deals happen 15, 20, 30 times.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and as you're saying that, the word that kind of, I think it's kind of been lost by the wayside is the word apprenticeship.
Correct.
I mean, if you think back,
that's right.
Life was about apprenticeships. Right. Yeah. If you wanted to go down a certain path, if you wanted to build yourself into a, you know, whatever your skill was, whatever your craft was, whatever your trade was, started through an apprenticeship.
That's right.
And I think that that's something that's disappeared through the years.
People don't want to pay the price. They want instant gratification.
There you go.
You know, which
There
is
you go.
sad. Because you have a less quality product 5 to 6 years from now. You might have instant gratification.
Sure.
But you have less experienced, less quality product that's out there, either creating products or selling services.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. From an apprenticeship perspective, it reminds me. It for some reason just brought up what my first job was growing up. Well, you first. What was your first job?
I was a bike messenger.
Bike messenger.
Remember, I was the fax machine.
Bike messenger.
I was email.
So you had it was the yellow manila folders with the.
For me. It was
the
yes,
wine on
correct.
top. Yeah,
That's right, with the rubber band on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my messenger bag.
And you'd hop on a bike and you'd take them.
Arrow
Through the streets.
Messenger.
No way.
600 West Jackson.
Wow.
Downtown Chicago. Yeah.
Downtown Chicago. So this is while you were still in high school?
Yeah. I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
50 years old.
Did you get hit by any cars?
I did. I did. What do taxi drivers call hood owners? Bike messengers.
Bike messengers. There you go. Yeah, I had a feeling that you might have. When you brought up the story before about the way the Marines market, it reminds me of first job I had growing up. So I grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And we lived on Jefferson Avenue. And the next street over was Wyckoff, and my entire other side of the family lived there. So my Uncle George lived there, and he had a bike shop, and they lived above the bike shop. And they've had it. As a matter of fact, the store to this day is still in the family. It's now a flower shop.
Wow.
It's called Stolen Magnolias. Hi, Delilah. Yes, her name
Cool
is
name.
Delilah.
Cool name.
Right, and she owns a flower shop.
Wow. Delilah.
Right, so Delilah
Great
with
branding.
the flower shop, and she's doing big things there. And the entrepreneurial spirit back then was down the block. There were a few abandoned houses. My uncle George, he was always thinking of. He was just a neighborhood hustler.
Mm-hmm.
So for Thanksgiving, not for that, for Halloween and for Christmas, he would go and load up and get pumpkins and Christmas trees. And so, back when I'm maybe 12 years old or so, he would have the Christmas trees outside. So now if you think about, growing up in Brooklyn, or have you seen the Bronx Tale? Of course you've seen the Bronx Tale.
That's right, Jazz. What's up, Jazz?
Jazz,
That's
right?
Terry. Yeah.
That style,
Yeah.
it's kind of, we had the front stoop.
Brownstones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had the front stoop, and, it was a very interesting place. So he was set up down the block and selling Christmas trees, and I'm trying to sell a Douglas fir for $60 because it was either the Douglas fir or the Charlie Brown tree. You know the Charlie Brown tree?
Thin tree, not a lot of...
Not a lot of money. There's not too much going on. Right? There's not too much going on. And what he said to me, he gave me a lesson that I'll remember to this day, and he said that what you want to do is you want to ask the person buying the tree, ask them about their ornaments. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, ask them about their ornaments. Because a lot of us, we have ornaments that mean something. When your son was born, your twin daughters were born, right? You might have ornaments of their handprints,
Yeah.
right? And even as we're saying this right now, you might be thinking about some ornaments that you have and what they mean to you. And he taught me one of the greatest sales lessons that I'll never forget, which was by bringing up those emotions, you're selling the feeling of presenting those memories
Yeah.
on a beautiful frame,
Yeah.
as opposed to a Charlie Brown tree, right? So, again, just an interesting way to look at it psychologically, but it really means a lot when you're connecting with people.
Yeah.
And as you were mentioning your experience in the Marine Corps, it made me think of that, to say, wow, that is interesting from a communication perspective, right? How do you become a person of influence? How do you have influence, whether it be on the sales side, whether it be as a brother, whether it be as a father?
Yeah.
Right, I think that not enough people leverage the word influence, because don't you want to be an influential father, an influential brother, right, an influential teammate on your team, and that taught me a very, very valuable lesson in influence and in service, right, because you mentioned service before,
100%,
and you said, hey, listen, it was about, you got to the point within the Corps, and you said to yourself, I need to serve my blood more than I need to serve my brothers, with all due respect.
That's right.
And
I think I get that from my father, because one of the biggest lessons, I mean, talking about him being present but absent, but one of the massive lessons he taught me, without realizing he taught me it, was integrity.
Okay.
Which is, listen, if you're going to agree to do something, do it. I don't care if you feel good about doing it, coming through, just do it, because that's going to create your reputation.
Right.
So if you agree to do something, do it. So if you want to say no to something, say no. But if you're going to say yes, now you're going to come through. So the power that I discovered in my life, the power is not in yes. The power is in no. of what you're able to come through and being honest with yourself so you can honest somebody else and they can appreciate the fact that you can come somewhere.
Have you ever said yes to something that eventually came back to be an unbelievable blessing, but at the time was a little bit of a thorn in your side?
Yeah. It was during the Great Recession, 06, 07.
Okay.
And the Chicago Public Library said, we want you to come down and do a financial talk for Financial Literacy Week on retirement planning and no problem. And we're going to promote it. We're going to bring pizza, promote it on the radio, TV. Awesome. Money Smart Guy is going to be at the Chicago Public Library doing a financial workshop.
Okay.
Financial Literacy Week. Get down there. I go to the library. They pick me up at the train stop. Boom. Balloons, pizza, food. I go down to where they're going to hold it. Massive auditorium space in the library. The whole entire time there, one person shows up. I'm like, we're waiting. Is that it? That's all that's showing up. Now, the librarian, she was embarrassed, right? She's embarrassed. We thought more people would show up, recession. People want to know this information, want to educate people. Apparently, people don't want to go to the library for information. But one lady, I was texting my team, guys, listen, only one person showed up. I'll see you guys in an hour and a half. But here's the thing, though. I prayed about it. So, you know what? This woman, God, I just came a believer 3 years before. I said, God's given me an opportunity to steward over this situation, no matter how big nor small. And this woman's going to get the most awesome workshop and financial presentation she's had in her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. I just knocked the socks off, got done, because my outcome is, do you want to set an appointment so therefore potentially you become my client? She goes, no, I'll come back and think about it but it's really, really good information. Thank you so much. Because I'm embarrassed. Why would she believe me? There's only one person there out of an auditorium of 100 people. Only one shows up. So she feels like an idiot being there. Right? Apparently this guy's not good after all.
Right.
And I'm trying to rescue the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm done with this thing. I leave the library, get a phone call. Say, hey, Matt, this is Tom Smith, LA Generate. We'd like to cast you for a financial reality show. And you're one of the people we want to cast. Yeah. I said, Kevin, stop it. I know you guys are giving me a hard time. I'm having one person in a workshop. I thought it was somebody pranking me from my office. Cut it out, bro. It was bad enough. I'll call you later. I'll be at the office in an hour. Call back. No, Matt. I hung up on him. Call back. No, Matt, this is Tom Smith from LA Generate. We want to cast you for a financial reality show. He says, give me a number. I'll call you back.
I'll call you back.
Right. Call 213, right? It's LA.
Yeah.
Ring. Tom said, okay, so what's it? Anyway, fast forward. I got cast as first ever in 2009, the first ever financial reality show called The Invested Life.
Okay.
It was sponsored by MSN Money and TD Ameritrade. I was on front of MSN Money's homepage. I was there, meeting a bunch of different financial coaches from different cities and states. The first one I coached was a single dude just graduated with a master's degree, getting an opera gig in New Mexico. The second client I served, a guy named Tom. Tom and his wife just went through Great Recession, lost everything in real estate, and I had to coach him from getting out from under his truck because he lost a few $1 million the day before.
Okay.
So there was interesting 2 seasons we did, but that was as an example of something that God gives you that's little, but you give it your very best, and He's going to bless you to your surprise, and that in this case, instantly with another leveling up type of opportunity.
God bless. Not all that's a great story. I don't think I've heard you tell that story before.
That's why I bring on your podcast, brother.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully there's a lot of guys out there that are going to listen to that and realize that's where they are. Young men, rudderless, in the world. What are 3 things every 18-year-old man or 18-year-old young man should be thinking about for the next 5 years of his life?
You got to find a community that's going to help you shape your identity. Deep down inside, if you have nobody bring that up, that's why so many students, so many young men look up to their teachers, they look up to their coaches, they look up to their pastors. And if you don't have those 3 areas, key men in your life, you're going to be replacing that with women, you're going to replace that with your mom, you're going to replace that with multiple girlfriends, because there's a hole in you, the spiritual hole in you that's craving for leadership and guidance of another man.
Yep.
See, back in the day, men had an enshrinement process or a process
rite of
passage to become a man.
Yep.
We don't have that today.
Yeah.
And so that's what for me, that was the Marine Corps.
Got it.
Right? And even through the Marine Corps, they have the crucible, a rite of passage to become a United States Marine, becoming a man.
That's in Hell Week? That's at the very end.
That's right.
Crucible.
Yeah, the crucible, right? And so that's, as a young man, that's what you need, whether it be college sports, whether it be academics. You got to find, and then surround yourself with the right caliber of men that are reaching out, wanting to improve themselves too as well. And by the way, that's very, very difficult. So if I'm 18, 19 years old, I'm associating, if I were you, I'd be associating with a man that's 30, 35, 40 years old, a man with experience. And a lot of these guys, they run across their friends in college, and they're what I call, flash in a pan for the moment. There's a lot of great ideas, a lot of young money, a lot of guys in their 20s make a ton of cash, especially this day and age. But see how long that lasts. Your fellow classmates or people that you may be around, maybe 15, 18, 20 years old. We just passed up a UTD, right? A billboard, number one esports college in America. Esports, people playing video games.
Yep.
But ask long term if that was a sustainable career path or did it dovetail into other things? Because what you might see right now, I've seen it so many times. Being 25 years as an entrepreneur, I've seen so many guys make money in 1, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, gone in 10, and never to be seen ever again.
Yep.
I've seen guys make money in 6 months, have these massive YouTube channel, massive following. Next thing you know, because it takes time to do this. You were asking me earlier, hey man, how long have you been doing content online? Bro, 5, 6 years.
5, 6 years, sure.
Right? And I've been at it. I haven't had an explosive YouTube career, but I'm getting first base, second base, second base, third base, first base. Second. I haven't hit a home run yet, bro. In 5, 6 years of me doing YouTube, I've had some massive triples. Interviewing Charlie Kirk, interviewing Deion Sanders, Waka Flocka.
Yep.
Those have been some of my triples. I don't have a video right now with 1 million views. I'm not there yet, but I have a bunch at 100,000. I have a bunch at 250. I have a bunch at 500. So I've got the singles and the triples and the doubles. For me, what's the process though? I'm getting better as a talent. I have to improve.
Right. Got it. Favorite movies of all time?
Okay.
Come on, let's go.
Platoon.
Let's go. Platoon.
Full Metal Jacket.
I'm sensing a theme here. I'm sensing a theme.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, whoa.
Not
okay.
Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back. We're going to go there?
Yes, I know Star Wars. Why Empire Strikes Back? Wait, are those top 3? That's it? There's a 3? I feel like you're going to throw Back to the Future
I'm going to throw Gladiator. I got to throw Gladiator.
Gladiator
in there.
300. Speaking of Rite of Passage.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that whole movie is Rite of Passage in the very beginning.
That's right.
When they kick him out, it's like, oh, well, you know what? You want to be the king.
That's right.
It's a great, it reminds me of the book that I quote all the time, which is Fathered by God by John Eldridge. And he does an amazing job framing out the masculine journey of boyhood, cowboy, warrior, lover, king, sage. And it's this fascinating model where he puts it very, in a very linear format, which to us guys can be a lot easier to understand, right? Yep. A to B to C to D to E to F. Yeah. And a lot of the challenges in what you were saying about the flash in the pan, there's a lot of cowboys making a lot of money. Yep. But the challenge is that the cowboy's not yet a king. The cowboy has to become a warrior before becoming the king, which goes back to what you said your rite of passage was, which was the military. Yep. Quite literally become a warrior. Literally. Right? So you have this generation that didn't go through that process correctly, which is the younger generation. And if you didn't go through that warrior process, you can get stuck. So even if you look at, let's just say, Empire Strikes Back, it's the exact same process. Right. Wounded in boyhood. That's right. Right? And he then goes into cowboy. Yeah. Tries to take on the demons, right? Which is Darth Vader, which is just father. Right. Dark Father. Is right. Vader means father in German, right? So it's just him battling, him being abandoned by his father. Yeah. But he could never get to be a king, or in this case, another 4-letter word, a Jedi. Jedi. That's right. Right? That's why it's considered a religion as well. But it all comes back to one last stage of manhood, which is sage. And that's something that we take very seriously in the modern day Don world, and we even have an acronym around it, which is stoicism. It's a stoic personality. Amor, because they know the value of love, right? They're extremely generous because they've gotten to that point in their life, and E is the experience. And we need more sages, and I think that's what we're really missing. So he had to find a sage, and then he had to figure out what he was fighting for. So who was the sage? Yoda, right? Who was the sage in Lord of the Rings? Gandalf, right? Another great movie, Lion King. Right, Lion King, Nala comes around, and he's just Hakuna Matata. We got a lot of young men Hakuna Matata right now, and they want to be lovers, but they have nothing to
You look
fight
at
for.
Aladdin; he wasn't clear about him being who he was. He had to be in a fake world, being the prince. Yeah, Prince Abu.
Yeah, and then what was the big idea there? Is that you already have it inside you. Yeah, you got to behave like royalty to be treated like royalty until you open your eyes and you realize you are royalty. Yeah, right. We're all kings. As long as we hold ourselves as a king and say, would a prince really act that way? Yeah. And when we can make that adjustment, and even with Simba, it's like you can't be a lover, you can't be a king. And what did he need? He needed Rafiki, right? I mean, he needed Rafiki.
The sage.
Correct.
It's interesting how these
Correct.
sage profiles are
Correct.
small and short in demeanor.
Correct.
It's not your Goliath type or your Hercules type figure.
Sure. They've gotten to that point where they can be the Marcus Aurelius in Gladiator, right? And he can say, you know what, Commodus didn't go through that process correctly,
No.
right? So Commodus
He wanted
wasn't
shortcuts.
able.
He was
wanted
entitled.
He wanted shortcuts, but but Maximus was. So why Empire Strikes Back?
Because I'm a big fan of the underdog story, man.
Got it.
I'm just an
So
underdog.
Godfather 2 instead of Godfather 1?
To me, it's still Godfather 1, the first one.
Okay.
First one, because that's where he was a Marine, came back, and he needed to get a job, go out into the life,
Yeah.
goes there, finds his girl, and nothing in his life ever changed after the car bomb blast.
Yeah.
But to me, that's why I fell in love with God. I would not watch Godfather 2 if I didn't watch Godfather 1. Like, for example, if I was going to watch Godfather 2,
Yeah.
I really wouldn't get it until I watched Godfather 1.
Sure.
I wouldn't watch Godfather 3. I wouldn't get it until I watched Godfather 1.
Have you ever seen Once Upon a Time in America?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
One of the most underrated gangster movies
Really?
of all time. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'll send you the link.
Leave
when
it
we
to
head
New
out
Yorker
here.
to set me
I'll tell
straight.
you right here. That's where I grew up. New York over here. My man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you being here.
For sure.
It was a good time, my man.
100%, man. Time went by fast.
All right, we got to go get a cigar soon.
100%.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Till next time.
You got it, bro.